Hello and welcome to another Moto Talk with Steve and Kim. I'm Steve and that's Kim over there, and we are going to talk about some of our viewers' bikes today. And we'll also be talking with Jenna Smith from Southern Indiana. I'm going to shout out to our sponsor, Performance Power Sports, here in Brownsburg. What are we talking about?
Jenna West.
Oh, Jenna West. Did I say Smith?
We don't know anyone named Jenna Smith,
Jenna
but
Smith
we do know Jenna West.
Jenna Smith is a cousin of mine.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyway, shout out to Performance Power Sports here in Brownsburg, your store for chain sprockets, power sports supplies. And that's a free advertisement. That's cost them nothing because we don't.
Because they're really good to us.
We don't have anything to give them.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but we could.
Anyway, hey, if you guys have a picture of something that is sentimental to you, or maybe your uncle, your father, your grandma grew up on a certain bike, feel free to post those in the comments. Let me pull the comments up there. Let us know if you hear us and everything's good. It looks like we've got some people on there. One other thing is, we're talking about sentimental motorcycles.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of those in and out of the shop, and people feel strongly about something that's got history in their family or something that's got history in their lives. We've had everything from a guy that bought a brand new bike in 1972 and left it sit for 40 years and brought it to us to restore, to I'm working on two of them right now, one of which is one a guy's always wanted to own. It's a SX250 Harley. He feels strongly about. They're fairly rare. So he's going all the way down the road to make sure that it looks perfect. And I've got a 1972 FLH that belonged to a guy's dad, and it sat fallow for about 25 years. And it started to look a little bit feeble, and we're going ground up all the way through nuts and bolts on that one. So people bring a lot of bikes to us that they want to have brought back to perfection as they remember them. And that's really what we wanted to talk about today, what it is people find important about their sentimental bikes and which, specific bikes that they might have. We've got a number of examples, and we'll talk a little bit more about those. And I'll highlight a couple specific ones that we're close to in the shop.
Yeah, we've worked on, I would say, more than anything, CB750s that were bought new. Yeah. They were in the family. They came down through the family. They wanted us to bring it back to life and put it back on the road.
Yeah, and that's become a pretty common choice because CB750s are beginning to gain some traction in the value marketplace. Where they might have been available for $500 to $1,500 over the last 10, 12 years. Now they're becoming more dear, and if they're really good, even if you leave out the 69s and 70s, they're still bringing thousands, anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 if they're really good. As long as they're the single overhead cam bikes. Right. The double overhead cam bikes are just not as well loved, but the single overhead cam bikes.
Certain one.
Yeah, like the CB1100F that was in here. Those are always going to be valuable, but
even the 900s.
Generally the 750s, 900s, 1000s, there's a lot of them, and they're not as they don't get as much traction on people over time.
Right. Yeah. There was a pretty good restoration we did on a 72, the Briar Brown, and he had bought that new, and it sat out and looked like it was drug up out of a river. And we brought it all the way back to life, and he took it back to the farm, and hopefully it's inside. Getting protected.
Yeah, but I hope so. He said he wanted to let his kids ride it after it's done, so we'll find out.
The first one we want to talk about a little bit today is a good friend of ours. He brought a bike to us 3 years ago. His name is Brian Graney, and he can chime in on the comments if he's watching live. That's
an OG photograph there.
This little character in the clown suit is Brian Graney when he was a kid, and that's his dad. And his dad bought a CB750.
That was a 71.
And actually, I really need to go back and look at. There's a message that he sent, but
there it is.
But he had. Well, let me go ahead and read this. I'll just go ahead and read this because it's a nice little list. He says, "Dad bought it new. There were about 8 of his buddies that hung together. Each had different talents: custom paint, engine builder, interior upholstery, race." And I'm scrolling down too fast. It looks like they all had custom street bikes and matched their custom vans, and they all raced cars too. So They did the Pink Panther theme on this bike.
Yeah, you're going to see in a minute why we call it that.
A year after he bought it, he put an 836 kit in it, 2-inch over front end, Harley 16, all the stuff that you would do if you were going to do a mod on an old 770 CB750. And then let's see here.
So he had it in the family in the 70s and rode it, and then he sold it to someone in 79. Sold it again, and he found it after, looks like 18. No, it looks like what is that?
You're a faster reader
That's
than I am.
37 years. It took him 37 years to find it again, and it was neglected. But when we got it, I remember when we saw it, it was fairly unloved. But when we got it and put it back together, it came out pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
and
there's
then,
a couple pictures.
And then he took it home and went even further with it. And so we'll post that picture up here. So here it is after he had gotten it back and restored it. And
that's original paint, I think.
There's father and son again, and then here's another little bit of a close up there. So Pink Panther theme.
So again, you know, it's what
cool
you like that you put together. It's not necessarily what everybody likes, but it's what you like. And clearly, this motorcycle is very definitely one man's view of what he wanted. There's some changes on there that not everybody would do, but he did, and he really felt strongly about it. And it looks great today, and he's using it. It runs great too.
Yeah, so it's great that his dad was able to see that.
Yeah, that was a fun one to work on.
Enjoy it. Real fun one to work on. What is one that did you have someone in your family that had something?
My brother's had several. He's got an RD350 that he's really interested in finishing. He's going to get some help from Jan Bradley at this point. I think it's a 75. It's an orange one, RD350. I've got a 73, but I don't have the original one I bought new in 73. It was the very first street bike I bought new. I wish I had it back, but I don't have that one anymore. But I do have an RD350, a 73. It's just not the original one that I had to begin with. I've had a couple of bikes that I have now, like the red and silver CL 305 that I have, the CL 77. I bought that bike 40 years ago, and I bought it from a minister in Mooresville, Indiana. I paid $15 for it because it was all disassembled and laying everywhere around the garage. And I put it back together and rode it for a while. And it's one of the reasons why I chose to go ahead and restore it again, because it was something that meant something to me.
Yeah.
It was one of many. I wish I had my original Super 90. It was the very first bike I ever owned when I was 15. I rode that bike for 2 years and sold it. But then I found another one many, many years later, and I still have that one.
I didn't have any of that history in my adoptive family. I was adopted when I was a baby, and then we moved out to Colorado. And the first bike I rode was like a little XR50 or something like that. And so that would be, I guess, a sentimental bike to me if I saw one and got the right deal on it. You know,
exactly.
That was the first one I ever learned how to ride on.
Yeah.
And little did I know till later down the road when I got to meet my birth parents. My birth mother was a picker, and she actually won a contest to go picking with Frank Fritz several years ago, which was kind of cool. And then all of my birth father's side, they're all gearheads. So they've all had motorcycles and race cars, and one of his brothers builds big boat engines with this cigar boats or whatever you put on Lake Michigan or whatever up by Chicago.
I know in our family, there weren't really any other people that I was around immediately that I knew did motorcycles, but my dad was in the Marine Corps as an MP during World War II. And there's a picture of him my brother has, and he's sitting on what must be like a WLA Harley flathead.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He must have ridden it, at some point as an MP. And my brother took an interest, I think, like every kid does. And he raced successfully in the mini class. He had an XR 75 that I'm absolutely sure he'd like to have back. Keith Carlson's looking to buy one now to fill out his basement man cave, but those are beginning to get dear, become quite expensive to acquire and fix. So, hopefully there'll be people out there.
Yeah. He's been filling his basement up. I guess we'll have to have a show.
We should, yeah. We should do a location shot.
Do a show down in Keith's basement.
Yeah, his basement is really good.
And one sentimental bike for him would be that CT 175. I think he had. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Hey, we got a call here from Jenna. Jenna.
Hey.
Hey, how we doing, Jenna Smith? I called you Jenna Smith at the beginning.
Do you know anybody named Jenna Smith?
Oh, my
we
gosh.
don't.
I actually went to school with a Jenna Smith.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, we're glad it's you instead of her.
We've got Jenna West on the phone, and she's a really good friend of the shop and fellow motorcycle rider, and also sponsored by the Revit Women's Adventure Team. And we're just going to talk to her about. She's got some sentimental bikes.
Yeah, we didn't know any of this stuff about Jenna. We met Jenna because she was interested in vintage bikes, one specific vintage bike that we worked on several times. And she's since gone on to other vintage Hondas, and we'll let her tell you what's important about those. My favorite thing is that she actually has a Honda in her house and drapes lights over it for Christmas. I love that picture.
Yeah, I did. It stayed in the house it lived in the house when I wasn't riding it for 2 years. And then now that we've got the pup, I had to put it back in the garage, and that made me sad because I really enjoyed seeing it sitting in the living room, but I can't risk the pup damaging the bike. So.
Oh, well, there you go. The motorcycle takes precedent over the dog.
We can't be having them tear up that nice seat, right? Or the tires.
Yeah, no, if he tore up the seat, I might have to kick him out.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
So what year? Well, we're going to put this. That's the wrong picture. We're going to put a picture up of your dad. Your dad and your mom, or your grandpa.
Is that you?
Your grandpa and your mom on this 450. So what year is that? It's a 68.
It's a 68. Yep, it's a 68 CB 450 K1.
Okay, and was that black?
It was. It's actually,
I can't tell
in the picture, but it was blue.
Blue. Okay, it is a little lighter. Okay.
So
but it's such an old picture.
Looks like your mom must have been like what, 6 or 7, maybe?
Yeah, I think she was. I'm not sure. She would have been probably 4 or 5. I think that was around 70 when that picture was taken.
Cool. Does she look like you?
We do look a little bit like. I don't think we look as much like now, but when I was little, I looked like she did when she was little.
Yeah, she's a blonde.
Yeah, she is blonde, and obviously I have dark hair.
Oh.
As long as you didn't, try to get above like second or third gear.
Yeah, just don't go anywhere. I mean, if you rode around the parking lot, it was terrific.
Yeah. So maybe that's all they had done. So they're like, yeah, she runs perfect.
Yeah. So let's go back to your grandpa's bike. I mean, if even though you weren't fortunate enough to have active living relationship with your grandfather. I'm absolutely certain when you're on your 450, you channel that photograph, him,
Oh
your
yeah.
mom sitting on it. That whole thing probably comes rushing back to you.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's kind of something like, never got to have a relationship with him or something, but kind of share that anyways.
Yeah, that's cool because in the picture he's styling like crazy. He's got boots on, he's got the shades, he's got the flat top, he's got the jacket that looks like like an athletic sports jacket. I mean, he must have been a cool guy.
Cowboy boots.
I've heard lots of stories and stuff. I think he was pretty cool.
He had a 450 Honda. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't think my grandma was real happy about that purchase. I don't think he asked her. I think he just decided he was getting a bike.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a show about that. People that have motorcycles and their spouse or significant other doesn't know about it. I've known several people like that.
Several, yeah. Some of them have bought them and brought them to the shop and hid them there for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you just store this for a little bit?
Yeah,
happens all the time.
Can you not say anything or post any pictures about it? Yeah, I've had that.
So, what was your first interest in getting into motorcycles? You've been doing it for so long. You're the real deal. We all know that you have that stamp, but what was it that made you begin?
Well, actually, Dwayne, that I've been with I think we've been together 9 years this year, but when we got together, he got a bike shortly after we got together, and I started riding with him as a passenger. And I think I rode with him for a few months because he got it in the fall when we got together. And then by spring of the following year, I told him, I was like, I want my own. I want to learn to ride. So we actually went out and I bought a little Ninja 300. It was the first year that they had the Ninja 300. So it was a 2013. And I bought it in February. He had to ride it home for me because I'd never ridden one. And then in March, when it got warm enough and there was no snow and everything, he took me down to a church parking lot and kind of taught me how to go through the gears. And I think I rode in the church parking lot for like 20 minutes. And then I went to a cul-de-sac and started getting through the gears for another 20, 30 minutes. And that was kind of it. After that, I was on the road and never looked back and just kind of got more and more into it over the years. I mean, you guys know me.
Then the sickness set in.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, well, you must have had a good mentor in Dwayne because you guys stuck with it and you ride together on different bikes for hundreds of miles, thousands of miles.
Thousands, yeah. I'm probably getting close to 100,000 miles. I haven't kept super close track, but I would say I'm probably close to 100,000 miles since 2013.
Do you count?
We've ridden all over the country and Canada. And
do you count how high in a tree you've been?
Oh yeah, there's that one.
It wasn't very far off the ground.
Where's that picture at? We should have got that one in here.
Yeah, we'll get that for another show. That'll be another show, dirt riding.
For sure.
Do a dirt riding show, and I'll send in the picture of the KTM and the tree.
We like that. So, what do you want to tell us about Revit?
So I'm on the women's Revit adventure team, and so there's 5 of us across the U.S. And essentially, we just wear Revit gear, which I was wearing Revit gear for years before I joined their team. So it's not like they sponsor me, so I love their gear thing. It was I love their gear before they sponsored me, and they're just great. They're great to partner with. They make sure that we have the gear to keep us safe, and once a year they'll send us, until COVID, once a year they would send us as a team either to an event or just somewhere to ride. And we do that. And then we just do other events on our own all across the country. I do some around here, and all of my teammates do events where they live. And when we can, we just kind of get together. Amelia is one of my teammates, and she lives in New Jersey. And so me and her are kind of the East Coast girls. Everyone else is on the West Coast. So I try to get with her to do events at least once a year when we can.
That's got to be huge fun. And, we all enjoy hearing the exploits and seeing them. I know Steve's got a link to your Facebook page or something. Yeah, and do you have a link that goes out to Revit so people can go look at some of your exploits?
Let me type this in here. Yeah. Let me type it in the comments.
There's got to be some video out there.
Yes, they've got some videos. I did. They have a video from our trip to British Columbia. That was in 2019. And they did a video of us from that, which is pretty good. I think you can find it on the Revit website. and also they've got some stuff on their Revit Adventure Instagram.
Okay, there you go.
Their Instagram for our adventure line is Revit_adventure.
Yeah, let me pull up your Instagram page, and then they can find it from there, right? It says Revit Adventure Women's Team Rider. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and if you look on any of my photos on there that I'm actually in, I've tagged Revit on all of those. So you can just find a picture that's got me in it and then hit the picture, and then it'll come up with Revit Instagram. And you can just hit it from there.
So on Instagram, it's Jen's Moto Adventures, all one word, and you'll be able to see all the pictures of Jenna's rides on there, and then there'll be like links as well.
Yeah, and I also have a blog, which is jensmotoadventures.com, but I haven't actually used it since like January of last year.
Yeah, but the content, I mean, I can speak for the fact that the content of that blog is really good. It covers a lot of ground. Yeah, it's really good. You should do more of it. We hope you do more of it.
I will do more of it. I think COVID kind of, became a bummer for all of that stuff, but I definitely need to get back into that because I do enjoy riding and I enjoy sharing the pictures and everything with everyone, and it's gotten a lot of good feedback over the years. So I definitely
we've got a new spring and summer coming up, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Jenna West, thanks for calling in, and we'll catch you up here on we'll start Talking Tuesday back up, and you guys can come up visit again, and we'll try to get down that way as well and do some riding. So thanks again for calling in and
say hi to Dwayne.
The show. Say hi to Dwayne and the new doggy, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks,
all right.
Jenna.
See you later.
So we've got a bunch of bikes here to talk about in the next few minutes. We've got one that's very close to our hearts. It's Mike Hubert that works in our shop. Steve's going to show you a picture of it, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. The photograph is cool. Mike's got this picture a Moto GP rider, is Senor Bulto's, the founder of Bultacos, grandson, I think.
Lost all audio. No audio.
Oh, that's no good.
Shame.
I don't see. Did we mute by accident?
I don't think we muted anything, but we may have to just end it. Still no audio? Need to do sign language? I thought I heard a little click.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at anything here that looks like it's hosed. Got audio back.
Audio's back. Okay.
Great.
Now we don't have to learn sign language.
Right.
Really quick.
So what I was saying was the Bultaco is the foundation was a guy named Senor Bulto, who was Spanish, who worked for another factory. He decided to build his own bikes. And then in modern times, Ruben Schaus, who's a MotoGP rider, also a super motard rider, super skilled guy. He's a relative of Senor Bulto's. I think it's his grandson, but I'm not absolutely sure about that.
So like the OSA had the 6-day bike.
So does anybody hear us? We're getting that we don't have audio still.
Sing a song just to verify. Yeah. Well, we may have to do that sometime.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hey, so the OSA had a 6-day bike, like the Pioneer, right?
Yes, we worked on one.
So did Bultaco? Would they have had some bikes in the 6-day events?
Yes, they very definitely did. That's really where they started. And a bike like that Sherpa would have been a 6 days bike.
Yeah, we have no clue what we're doing, Chris. If we had to do the sign language, we'd be out. You know, all I can do is say hi and bye.
Yeah, we might have to call the cops, in which case we'll call you first.
Let's show a couple more here. I think I was going to show my my grandma. So I was adopted, and this is my birth grandmother, and she rode this Yamaha.
I think that's a 66 YDS3 because I had one. I think that's what that is.
So then I ended up picking one that was similar.
Yours is older. I think that was a 62.
Yeah.
YDS2, that was a sweetie too. Did Jan Bradley buy that?
That I bought that from Jan.
Oh, okay.
And then I sold it to another guy, so I didn't give him a chance to buy it back. And then we've got another friend of the shop, Bill Yarian. He sent us a couple pictures, but this was the only picture with him actually in it from back in the day. 1982 Goldwing. So,
yeah, that's a full dresser Goldwing.
Goldwings have been around a long time.
6-cylinder ones.
You know, it's a good bike if they make it the same thing every year, decade after decade.
Yep.
That's for sure. And then our last one of the day, we have Kevin Morgeson. And he said that this was his second 80 Yamaha XS850 special.
It's a triple. And
he got T-boned, had an accident. 32 years later, he came across this one. So this wasn't the original one. And that needed some love. And so far, it's been a year-long project, bringing it back to life. This time, he's going to try to keep it intact. So, well, you know,
it looks like a really good one.
That does look like a good one.
All stock.
So, anyway, we're at the 30-minute mark. So we're just going to say, see you later. I don't even have a tip for the day, a safety tip of the day. I forgot.
If you're out in the next couple days, even though it's 55 degrees, look out for the salt and the ice and the wet and all that kind of thing. Yeah, pay attention.
You know, don't be so fearful. Get out there in the salt. We had a post in one of the motorcycle community pages, and someone was going to go out riding yesterday, and so people were saying be careful because of the salt, and there's little patches of ice here and there, and then they were like, well, you need to stop living in fear.
Clayton rode his motorcycle today.
I mean, you
for
can go
about
out
an
and
hour.
ride. It's just you got to be careful. The salt makes it a little slick, and you know, some of us have some pristine bikes, Keith, that don't want to get them all dirty anyway. So he's not going to be out there until the streets are clean, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Well, hey, anyway, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see what we got for next week. You have anything else to say, Kim?
No, I think what we're going to try to do is get some people to tell us about a motorcycle that's important to them, even if it doesn't have history. You know, why did they buy it? What was significant about it? How long had they had it? If they had it and they lost it, well, how did they feel about getting rid of it? That sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm glad our audio came back in, and we'll see you later. Okay. Take care.
So long.